Welcome to the Battlefield Show. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sammy Boy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Our recording schedule comes in clutch once again. We have some incredible news to talk about today, and it's all around a mid-season event called the Liquidators event. So let's hop right in. See, this is the kind of stuff that we need more of. This is the battlefield that we need to be aware of. Like, oh man, this is exciting. Obviously, there's an air of excitement just because it randomly drops, but it'd be even more exciting if it's like, oh man, what's the mid-season event gonna be like? Like, this wasn't even a thing, right?
Yeah, like we've kind of touched on this a lot, where we've been saying like they need to just do more stuff, and I don't mean like add more content and work harder. I just mean like do some events, put stuff on your social media. Like they haven't really done that, and this is exactly what we were talking about. Like just doing little events where this can't be like drastic amounts of work for them. It's just a couple of skins and some modes. Like it's not like this has taken them 6 months to do it. So yeah, this is the perfect type of stuff that I want. That it also kind of brings that community together, because everyone's now talking like, oh, okay, there's an event going on. Like we haven't had that. There's not been anything like that. Even like, I guess the season launches, so season 1 and 2, like when that update goes live, that's obviously exciting because there's a new map and all that kind of thing. But that's also just like content. This is just nothing's really being added, but we're just having something fresh and exciting. So
it's something that unifies the community around one thing. But what the heck are we talking about? Well, we got a rogue random Battlefield briefing about the Liquidators event. And, quote, join a vicious hit squad in the Liquidators event between October 11th through the 25th. And this is really awesome. So there's a string of skins that are freaking awesome. Like, they look so cool.
Look so good, yeah.
Love it. So when a competitor threatens their business, the dark market sends their Liquidators, a vicious hit squad that specializes in involuntary asset liquidation. Your job is to dissolve enemy squads from the battlefield and capture areas critical to the dark market's bottom line. The Liquidators are here to get the job done. And, okay, that sounds pretty cool. This is interesting. It gets better. From tighter play spaces, smaller teams, and infantry only, this 2-week-only mid-season event is prime close quarters combat. Play your cards right and make the difference. Your squad will need it. So there's 3 key things. There's the skins that you're going to unlock through missions. There is the smaller infantry-only maps. And then most exciting is the event itself. This is so the first week, starting October 11th, is going to be, the mode is called Tactical Conquest. It's a smaller, more tight-knit mode. Basically, imagine Conquest, but small. And the first week is going to be 8v8, and then the second week is going to be 16v16. What?
Big fan of that. I love this. Like, we've talked about it before. I love the scale, almost the lack thereof scale with Rush. I love that. Like, it's so much more focused. You don't have to kind of wonder where to go. And I don't know, there's a lot of times in like Conquest where you might spend X amount of time getting to a flag and then there's just no one there. In these modes, there's always someone there because it's compact, and it kind of funnels you towards, obviously providing that they design these maps because they're going to be smaller. Yeah. Obviously providing that they do that properly, but I'd imagine they will because it's essentially just a smaller map. I love these modes, and the 8v8, that to me is really interesting because I don't know if I can't really remember. Maybe in Battlefield 5, I think they had squad conquest. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I can't remember any times when we've had like 8v8 modes. I think 16v16 recently. Obviously, like
Back in the day,
back in
we
the
had
day
stuff,
with
yeah.
I think Rush was 12 versus 12 or something like that. But
Yeah.
8v8. It's been a long time since we've had stuff like that, and I love that. Really, like, it's almost a bit more nitty gritty because it feels like you have a lot more power in that game because you are 1/8 of your team instead of
Yes.
128th of your team. So if you go on a tear, like you can carry your team, and I just love that. And yeah, I'm very keen for this. The 16 versus 16 sounds awesome, but the 8v8 as well.
Yeah.
I'm really keen for that.
I'm going to play so much of this. What maps are we going to be playing on? Well, we're going to be playing on Eureka Harbor, Breakaway, Caspian Border, Discarded, Renewal, and Stranded. And something that I was very interested in when they said, oh, hey, we're going to have smaller maps was, okay, let's see how they do this. They actually, in the post, they have a slider to show you the actual maps of it. And I think that's so good, and it's such a good thing for them to show, like, hey, yeah, we're not just going to leave you in the dark and say, hey, guys, these are smaller maps, whatever. They actually showed them. And my favorite one is Discarded, or Stranded. The Stranded, it's literally just the boat. The best part of Stranded, it's just the boat.
Yeah, that looks very fun, especially because, like, I'd imagine you'll still be able to get on top, but I think most of it will take place. I'd imagine the flags will still be where they are, like, on the inside. So it's going to be chaos. That will be full-on chaos in there, especially the 16 versus 16 mode. Man, that's going to be fun.
That's going to be so much fun. Like, goodness gracious. Also, I mean, the Renewal is going to be that middle section. Basically, the wall, mostly on one side, will be B1, so the middle capture point, and then it'll be the little...
Yeah, that's a very small map, isn't it?
It's very small.
Because it's just smaller than the rest by a long way, I reckon.
Yeah, so it's
interesting,
drastically smaller. Most of these are like Discarded. It's just like the storage container sections. Like, it doesn't. Yeah. It's just that one specific section, which I think will make that. I mean, like we were talking about last episode, Discarded is basically like these key interest points that are like spread out between no man's land, and it's just now one of the interesting points.
Yeah, and that's the best part too. Like, that is an area that is actually built up, and it's like that's a well-designed part of the map. It's just the rest of the map essentially is just like sort of barren, but that is actually a good part. So that could now make Discarded the best map of these that we've got. So I'm very keen for this. The more I'm looking at these pictures and stuff, they all, like, every one of them looks good.
Yes.
Even Breakaway looks really fun because that's kind of the same thing. That's
it's just like the research area. What is that?
Yeah,
outpost section where it's got like the big warehouses, the storage containers, obviously.
Let me go through 1, 2. I think there's some on Caspian Border. 4, 5. Every map has shipping. Every single one. I think Caspian Border might have.
It's got the fewest for sure.
Yeah,
but it still has them.
My goodness, that's hilarious.
Yeah. If you could describe Battlefield 2042 in one word, what would you say? Containers.
That's good.
So it's awesome to see the smaller modes, how they would approach that. The second thing I think is going to be cool. I mean, these skins are awesome. The missions and the rewards. So you earn ribbons and tactical conquest to unlock unique rewards during the event. So for 10 ribbons, you get the shield player card background. For 30 ribbons, you get the kinetic caliber AM40 skin. 60 is the wrecking crew dozer specialist set. And then 100 ribbons is the Trojan horse M1A5 skin. That's what it says at least. Let me see here.
I like the way they've done that too with the ribbons, because to be honest, I feel like ribbons are completely irrelevant in this game. But
I forgot they were in
they're the type of thing that, like, you don't actually go and get ribbon. Like, you don't go, oh damn, I'm 1 kill away from getting that next ribbon. I just don't. You just, at the end of the game, you just see what you got, and you're like, okay. And then the next game starts. Like, no one actually cares about them. But doing it this way, now I'm actually probably going to pay attention to that. And like, I don't even know what each ribbon. I cannot for the life of me remember which ribbons are related to what things. Like, there's certain ribbons that are getting, X amount of kills or whatever. I don't even know what they are. So at least now it's a good way to sort of put them on the radar a little bit and make us sort of focus on them. And realistically, it just comes down to almost just playtime. Like, it's almost like the more you play, the more likely you are to get this, because it's not like there won't be any crazy challenges where it's like get 10 knife kills in a row or something. So
these are a lot more approachable for sure. For the question for you, I haven't opened the store period in Battlefield 2042. I was just talking in the Discord about, like, I don't know if I've actually changed any of my skins. I may have changed one of my skins, but I haven't even like touched that whole section period. For like the Ultimate Edition, did we get like skins or did we get like credits and stuff for that?
I think well, I'm not actually sure, because you get the Battle Pass for free, and that comes with the, like, whatever, Battlefield coins or whatever they're called. So I don't know if you necessarily get given coins, but technically we do get them for free because we get the Battle Pass, and then you get them through the Battle Pass. So you should, like, I'd imagine you'll have some, because I looked the other day, like, and I just was like, oh wow, I've got enough to get a skin. I didn't even realize. So yeah, I don't think technically it comes with like X amount of coins, but yeah, you probably should still have some. Yeah,
I'm trying to see if it has any. I don't see anything so far on whether or not it comes with any. I should have a good amount, because some of these skins are pretty sweet. I'm gonna have to do something here, because it's pretty cool. Good gravy. Also, another thing that I really want to dive deeper on is we got a limited time only mode. Like, this is something we talked about pretty early on of, are we going to get this? What would that look like in Battlefield 2042? How are they going to implement it? And we finally have it. And this is an official mode. It's not like a Portal thing, which I think that a lot of those, like, could we have limited time only modes? And it seemed like almost like they're going to say, oh yeah, just go to Portal. Like, that's going to be the thing. Like, go to one of the highlighted modes, and that's basically our limited time only thing. I think this opens up a whole new world of possibilities for Battlefield.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said with the Portal thing, Portal's in just such a weird spot, because it's like, it's so good, but like, it just has this something about it where, like, you kind of don't want to go and play Portal. I don't know if that's just me.
They've made it like not real. Like, it's not real Battlefield. It
doesn't feel official. It doesn't feel, when I'm playing Portal, I'm not like, it almost feels like a waste of time, because I still don't know. They haven't made it very clear on what progression is legitimate.
Yeah, I have PTSD from that whole thing where, like, for the first like 20 days of Battlefield 2042, I only played Portal and I didn't level up anything.
Yeah. So it's just got this something about it that I can't put a finger on it, because it, on paper, and even when you're playing it, it is great. Like, it's so good. But if let's just say, for example, because obviously now Rush is in All Out Warfare, I'm happy to play Rush. But when it was only in Portal, it was a bit like, I don't know if I want to. And it shouldn't be like, as I say that, I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, why is that any different? But it just is. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because you don't know, one, if the game, you might accidentally join like a non-official server, which the guy who made it has
set. Like, switched to one setting. Kill.
Yeah, and it's just like, you just don't know what it is. And then also, I don't know if I'm, let's just say I'm really close to getting a tier 1 skin on my favorite weapon, and then I'm like, oh, there's Rush in Portal, let me go play that, and I get 200 kills, and then I'm like, that none of that counted. Like, that's the part that it just makes it, for me, it's just, I'd rather just play it All Out Warfare. So having this in All Out Warfare as like official content, that is so much better in my opinion.
It's weird to think of it this way, but I feel very similar to this, where like, it's like Mega Bloks versus Legos.
Yes.
Like, Mega Bloks, They're the same thing. They have like, but they're basically the same thing. They have like anytime I go to like a store or something and I see like Halo Mega Blocks, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. But it's Mega Blocks. Like,
Yeah.
if only they made a Lego version.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when it's
I'm
not,
exactly the
it's
same. I
made.
don't
It's
know
in the
why.
game. Like, why do I have this feeling
Yeah.
about it?
It almost also, I liken it to playing games with mods sometimes. Like, and playing with mods sometimes is awesome. Like when you choose to, but I wouldn't play. Like I used to play a lot of Battlefront 2 with mods, but if I was always like playing arcade and just like testing them out. If I want to just jump on and play some heroes vs villains, I'm playing without mods because that's the official.
And you don't want to get
experience.
banned.
And that also, that's where it started because I remember Ark got banned.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I felt for that guy.
Yeah.
That hurt.
So that it's kind of that same feeling where it's like, it just feels like Portal isn't official Battlefield. Because it is technically, it's like fan made. It's not real. It's I can just jump on and make whatever mode I want. It's not an official mode. If you guys all join my server, we're not playing an official Battlefield mode.
Yeah.
It's just random that I've made. So, and not that that's a bad thing. They're always fun. I don't know how to explain it because it sounds like I'm being negative towards Portal. I think Portal is one of the coolest
awesome.
things.
I love
ever.
it.
But when it comes to the option of if I'd rather something in All Out Warfare or Portal, I'm always going to choose All Out Warfare.
Yeah, exactly. Like I haven't played Portal in probably like 6 months, which is
Yeah.
weird because I love it. Like that was like I said, that was the only thing I was playing when it came out. Like I literally just played Battlefield 1942 2042 the entire time. Like that was the only thing I played.
Yeah. It's it's odd how that happened because I don't really know what. It's almost like since launch that kind of happened. It was like that first month where we all were like, oh, it doesn't count. The progression doesn't count and all that kind of thing. I also do think, and this is maybe going off topic a little bit, but I think like the lack of rental servers and stuff is still an issue. If I could rent my own server in Portal and keep it permanently, I would, and then I'd probably play Portal.
That's
all the
such a
time.
good point.
But because I have to boot it up every time, and it's like a bit of a hassle. You have to jump through hoops to play Portal sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where it kind of went wrong. So I think they can still correct a lot of that stuff, but whether they choose to or whether it seems like in their head they're like really happy with Portal and it's how they mean it to be. And for me, it's more like, I mean, it's awesome, but you can still do a lot to make it so that is like, there's a draw to it, and right now, to me, there isn't a draw to it. There's nothing making me go, damn, I want to go play some Portal.
Yeah. It's weird. And it's also in a weird place because it almost feels like you're playing a dead game. Like they haven't done anything to it. Like obviously they've made patches and they've done all this stuff, but they haven't like drastically supported it to the level that we thought they would be. Like if they were consistently adding content and stuff, that would feel a lot more legitimate as like a thing that you want to be a part of. Yeah. But it's just not really all that there, really.
And that's a good point. Like if, say, in the mid-season updates, we got a new Portal map, then it's like, okay, I'm going to go play Portal because maybe that map isn't in All Out Warfare, for example. So it's like awesome new, well, I say new, but a Battlefield 3 map that I loved is now in Portal. I'm going to go play Portal, but they just haven't really done that. They've done a few weapons and stuff, but for me, I don't know, weapons aren't as much of a draw because most of the good ones are going to be added to All Out Warfare anyway. So it's kind of like, I don't know, the weapons aren't something that draws me. It's more the maps and the, I guess the class system too is a bit of a draw, but at the same time, again, you're not progressing. That's the issue. That it's so detached that if I want to get tier 1 skins with my specialists, but I'm playing as classes, I'm not really. It's not a waste of time because at the end of the day, gaming is just for fun. So it's like, if you're having fun, you're not wasting time. But it is kind of a waste of time in terms of like trying to make progression and all that kind of thing. So I think it's just slightly. It's missing a few little things that would make it a lot better, but I don't know how I ended up taking this from the conversation we were having to a Portal, man, but here we are.
Just how it goes, man. All of a sudden, you're talking about bringing it back in. It's just like that limited time only mode. Like they have
That's
them
how
in
we
Portal.
started.
They have like the limited time only stuff over there where they switch it out every week or 2 weeks or whatever. I don't know. I haven't played Portal in forever. But apparently they have these modes that switch out every, like, what is it, Friday? They do something like that? Like
Yeah, I want to say Fridays are the days
for Battlefield
that
Friday or whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
Like they do all these things and it's like, okay, yeah, it's cool, but like it's not, it's so stupid to say this and it's not true, but it's not real. It's not real Battlefield
Yeah, no,
2042.
I know exactly what you mean though. Like that's that's the only way you can describe it. It isn't. It's not really Battlefield 2042. Like it's just this weird like multiverse thing that's like
It's like playing Hazard Zone.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a really good example though. It's almost like it's not quite the same because obviously they're very different, but it is essentially the same type of situation as Warzone and Call of Duty. When you play Warzone, it's technically Call of Duty, but it's not like the typical Call of Duty that we're used to, and they're very different things. And it's like you wouldn't, if you're playing Warzone, you're not going to just say, "Oh, I'm going to go and play some Call of Duty." Like you always refer to it as Warzone, so it's a very different thing. Even though it's the same engine, it's got all like same weapons, it's got parts of the same map and everything. So it's kind of the same. Obviously, Portal and Warzone are not even remotely close, but it's just that same, almost like divide between what they are and the base game.
It's definitely better now that they've updated the UI, but it's still like that extra step of your basic. You're stepping out of Battlefield and you're going into this other section in Battlefield. Like it feels like almost its own game in a point, and I think that's one of the failings of it. Like if it was its own game, it'd have its own like community, lifestyle, feel, everything like that. Like you would be involved in that. But I think it's limited to a point of like it being a part of Battlefield 2042 instead of its own thing.
Yeah, and I think all of these issues too, especially in a smaller population place like Australia, for example, it's because of all those things, not many people even play Portal now. So even if I really wanted to, like a lot of times you just can't find games on Portal. You just have to go to All Out Warfare. So that's kind of why, because the casual player base, they see All Out Warfare as the official experience because it's what was in the initial trailers. Like it's the main game. So I think that's part of it, is that they kind of separated them in a way. It was separated into, one is All Out Warfare, which is realistically that is Battlefield 2042. Then there's Hazard Zone, its own mode, and then there's Portal, its own mode. And they kind of did that themselves when they separated them into their own little tabs at the start.
Yeah, it's so strange to think about Portal and limited time only modes. But now that the seal has been broken, what kind of like limited time only modes would you like to see? Like obviously now they can do it. They can adjust it. They made smaller maps, which is weird. Like this is super strange because I think a lot of fans really wanted these changes initially on the map changes. They're like, oh, just make it smaller. And they're like, oh, I don't know about this. And then they literally just like carved it out, made new points, and this is a mid-season update thing, and it's a limited time only mode, and then we have like almost reworked maps.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Because most of the reworks we've gotten so far, they haven't actually made the maps smaller when they could have. They could have made them quite a bit smaller without having to cut. You don't want to cut out like main areas that have had a lot of work done to them and stuff. But yeah, seeing this now, it's like, oh, so they can just kind of do that. I don't know why they didn't do that for the reworked maps. But as for like what modes I want to see, like this is this is what I want to see. Maybe some fun stuff like free for all, and like I don't know, just some stuff that's not, because this is still Conquest, so it's still very much Battlefield. Do some stuff that's like fully random that again isn't in Portal. That's just like I don't know, I can't think of any examples, but just stuff that is a bit like goofy, like sniper only free for all, and like stuff like that. That's in previous games has been they've been limited time modes, and even in certain games they've been like actual modes.
Yeah.
Do some stuff like that doesn't. It can just be a bit more goofy because again, I think Portal is almost known as that like goofy mode where it's just a bunch of fun, and then All Out Warfare is always a bit like stricter, and they can just do that in All Out Warfare. I don't see any reason they can't do that. So yeah, I would love for them to just have some fun with it. If I had to pick any mode, it would literally just be this, just small scale.
Yeah.
Like anything that has that Rush feel to it, because Rush plays really well, and I think everyone loves Rush. Now that's in the actual game, we don't have to worry about that being a limited time mode anymore. So yeah, tactical conquest, a bit of like, I don't know, 16 player free for all. Gunmaster, just stuff like that I think would be a lot of fun to see. What about you?
Very much on the same wavelength. I think it is really cool to see smaller modes like this, because I think that's where these limited time only modes could really succeed, as the smaller, closer knit stuff that maybe honestly, broadly speaking, we're the minority in this camp. Like more infantry only stuff, smaller experiences in Battlefield. Everyone else is, at least that I talk to or see online, it's like, oh, Battlefield equals bigger. Battlefield equals massive scale vehicles, everything like that. But that can get a little boring if you play it a lot. And I think around this time in a season, we've gotten used to the new map rework. We've gotten used to the new map. What are some ways that we can kind of freshen it up? And I think these smaller modes, these tighter experiences offer something really refreshing as a Battlefield fan of, okay, yes, I've been playing 64-player enter mode here, or I was playing 128-player enter mode here. It's like, okay, yeah, I've been playing it a lot. It's Battlefield. Yeah, it's getting better. But man, I really wish there was something else I could be playing right now. Like, this is the perfect moment for that. And I think, like you said, something more interesting too could be fun, because this is a different flavor of the Battlefield we know, which is good. This is I would love more stuff like this, but also get a little wacky sometimes too. I mean, something that I love too in like Battlefront 2 was the rocket cargo.
Yep.
So I would love stuff like that.
McKay snipers only, like stuff like that. Where
I would love that, where they limit which specialists you can be. That would be so fun. Yeah.
And the thing is, you can do that as like a week. They can almost do like weekly modes. So it could be, and again, this doesn't take away from like, you always want to have your regular modes there. So this isn't like you can only play McKay in any mode. That's obviously not fun, but having these smaller limited time modes, you could have a McKay week where you play on Stranded because that's a good map for McKay, and it's just like free for all with McKay, and that would be chaos. Like everyone's ziplining around or grappling around with like some SMGs on the top of the boat. Like that would be absolute chaos. That'd be so much fun. And then the next week you could do like I don't know, like some sort of, you could do it with Falk where it's like free for all in squads, for example. So it's like one squad versus, there's like 10 squads in the game and you're all versing each other. And it's essentially like the last team to stay alive because everyone's Falk and you can all like keep healing each other or something. And it's just a matter of, it's just like last man standing, almost like a mini battle royale in a way, where it's just like you've got one life and obviously you can all revive each other. So it's just a matter of staying alive, essentially, like that stuff like that, and just change it every week. Like there's so much potential there. Yeah. And obviously they're better at thinking like that. They probably would listen to that and be like, that is terrible. But they're better at like thinking of these type of modes. So I'm sure they could come up with some awesome stuff. And yeah, I hope it's not just like a one-off thing. I hope this isn't just an event that just happens and then, because this does feel like an event that was like planned before the launch of the game. Like this is a faction within the game. We hear it with. I think I don't know the full story, but I think isn't the leader of this group of liquidators. That's the guy from the I forget his name, but he's the guy that Irish was sort of talking to in that initial in the Exodus like I always say fan film, short film. I forget his name, but I think this feels like it was planned, and I hope that this isn't just like we planned this a year ago and it's time. I hope that they next season
like
do
early
another
Battlefront
thing like
2.
this. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think they have a lot of potential there that they could just do regular stuff. It doesn't even need to be every week. Just like even just once a month. If you've got your monthly update, then the 2 weeks after that you have an event. Then the 2 weeks after that is an update. That would be really good, I reckon.
So what is this? This is the update was released the 27th of September. So we're what? 27, 10 days. Oh, dude, this is the mid-season thing that Tom Henderson was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was not sure if it was going to be an update or something like this, and I assume this. Like, do we even know if this comes with an update? I'm
not sure. I don't think they have mentioned anything on that front. They just said it's going to kick off then. The only problem is, this is very much a me-only problem, or maybe a few other people in the U.S., is the 10th is like Indigenous Peoples Day, previously known as Columbus Day, which we don't want to get into that. I'm very much happy for the change into Indigenous Peoples Day. Much better holiday. But like, I would love it if it was the 10th so I could play it more.
Well, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was the 10th. I had it in my, like, from that link.
That's what Tom Henderson or whoever it was said. It was going to be like the 10th or something like that.
Yeah, so it's
very much a selfish me problem, but I would love it if it was on the holiday that I have off.
Yeah, that would be perfect, yeah.
Darn you, Swedes.
At least, I guess, it is good that it's not, because I was wondering if it was like an event that was just like a couple of days. It's good that it is a couple of weeks. So I'd imagine it will take us to, looking at the date, it should take us to the next update. Yeah, I'd imagine that update will be the 25th.
This is what we need. Tuesday. We need something to keep you involved throughout the entire season. Because right now it's like, oh, I'm going to hop in, play it until I get bored, and then I'll come back with the next update.
Yeah. And that's even for me, who, like, I'm one of the few people that has pretty much enjoyed the game the whole time. And obviously being a creator, you're even more, like, involved in it because I've got to make videos and stuff on it. So I want to keep playing. But it's usually the first 2 weeks of an update, I just cannot stop playing. Like, I'm always addicted. And then I'm just like, it's 2 weeks till the next update. I've got all the footage I need and everything. I've played heaps. Let me just get some work done and I'll play less. And then I'll come back in 2 weeks. This is the type of thing that will keep me playing all month because I'm kind of at that stage now where probably early next week, I'd be like, all right, I'll probably have a week or so without playing, play some single player games in the meantime and just like chill out. But now this has come around and it's like, oh, okay, like I'm keen again, even though it's not an update. I'm excited like it is an update. And then it'll keep me playing until the next update, and then that will last another 2 weeks, and then if they need another event, that will last another 2 weeks. So this is the type of stuff they do need to do, and you and I have said this so many times now that like this is exactly what they need to do. They just need to keep people hooked because it has been, and I will say season 2's been better for this because of the portal.
I mean, Westy started playing it again.
Yeah, but like with season 1, for example. And I mean, Westy is the prime example. So with season 1, and not just Westy, but like a lot of those creators who are sort of, they're like bigger than Battlefield now. They've kind of moved on to where they can play other games. He came back and played with season 1, and then he just like didn't because there was nothing there. It's just like, okay, that was cool. I'm going to just go back to Warzone for another 3 months until season 2. Yeah. And that's what you don't want. You don't want people coming in and playing it and having a bit of fun, but then it's just stale. You want to keep people engaged throughout the whole season because that's when the true communities get built. People fully like become involved in the game, even if they are coming for every update. I would say that's a pretty hardcore player. If you download every update and play it for the whole lifespan of a game, that's a hardcore Battlefield player. But if you're not playing every like week, then it's kind of hard to like fully form those communities. And I just think that this is the perfect way to do that because then even when it comes down to like content creators, for example, now the content creators have something to stream. So someone I always see streaming is Squid. Squid will now have like, this is something that him and his community can be like, oh yes, we got some new modes, and they're going to play that, and that will like cause their community to bond even more. And obviously that goes across the whole Battlefield community. And it's just, by the end of the game, when you've got these type of situations going on, people are way more connected to that game than if it's just like, download the update, play it for a week, and then wait for the next one. You just can't you can't really fall in love with the game when it's like that.
Yeah, it's a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Come in for a couple of weeks and then you're like, this is stupid. You go, you leave, and then they're like, I've changed, I swear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a full-on, it's just an on-off relationship, isn't it? Whereas we're doing these events, that's when you get like that healthy relationship.
Yeah, you're going on a date, you're going to go see something, you're going to go ice skating.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best way to put it, actually. You wouldn't see those on and off relationships getting married eventually, would you? But the relationships where they're always doing stuff, that they're going to get married. So that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, like I
love the just like absolutely obscure analogies that we use on this show.
It's so good.
We were talking about the weather and like, was it? I don't know what it was. Something.
No, it was
like
food,
cooking or something. Yeah,
it was like spaghetti and burgers.
It's so good.
Yeah, shout out to Jordan. I think in the Discord, he made a callback to our episode. He was like, "It's not a spaghetti burger, but it was." He shared a picture of a mac and cheese burger, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it looks so good."
Oh, I love this.
That's my favorite part of this show, is when we create weird analogies for a video game. Like we need to have like a compilation of all of the weird.
Yeah, someone needs to clip all of these and put them into a big like. Maybe like we celebrate each year with watching back our most obscure analogies every year.
It needs to happen. Someone help us out here. We'd greatly appreciate that. A super cut of all of our stupid analogies. But I mean, like, it's the easiest. I mean, spaghetti, Battlefield go hand in hand. Switching gears entirely. I think going back to that conversation of like, why don't they do this more? And why? Like, I think DICE in particular is really bad about this. They had this whole like system set up for the beginning of Battlefront 2 where you could choose a faction and then you battled it out and you got to win or lose based on what side won, blah, blah, blah. Super cool project. Like, it got the community around something. Do you think this continues? Is this something that we're going to see more frequently?
Well, like, I hope it does, but I mean, that Battlefront example is the perfect example. We all loved that, and then they just never did it again. So
yeah,
like, I remember every time there was like a big update, we were all kind of like, "Oh, I remember back when they did that." Like, I remember it still. It had like Phasma on one side, and it was like the First Order.
Yeah, the Last Jedi
Finn.
update.
Yeah, and it was like just, I don't know, little things. Like, it doesn't take much to keep people engaged. Like, that wasn't, it didn't change anything. You just picked a team, and then at the end,
you got the same content.
Like,
no matter what side
it was just whoever won X amount of, it was like a couple star cards or something. Like, it does not take much at all. But that was like, that was 5 years ago, man. We're talking about
good
that
gosh.
So like, man, we're so old.
That hurt.
Existential crisis mid podcast.
Oh, I don't know what to do with that information, man.
Yeah, that's
5 years ago.
What?
Good gosh.
I really regret saying that now. I'm actually just going to be depressed the rest of this day.
Yeah, that was November 2017, because that was early on in Battlefront. That was just before, like, this was like mid-controversy.
That was the trait update, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a few days before
oh my
The Last Jedi.
gosh.
So that was almost, we're like 2 months away, or about a month away, actually, from that being exactly 5 years ago.
Oh.
But that's what I mean. We're still talking, like, we still remember that. That was good fun, even though it did not change the way that you played or anything. It was just like, pick a team, and everyone in the community was like, "Oh, which team did you pick?" And then you'd have that friendly banter, like, if you pick the First Order, and let's say you picked the First Order and I picked the Resistance.
Yeah.
We'd have a bit of back and forth, a bit of banter about it and stuff. Like that. That's the stuff that
They
people
did us
remember.
dirty though, man. I was the idiot that chose the Resistance.
Oh,
77% of the people obviously chose the First Order. Like, you got to do something different here, people. Maybe that's probably why they never brought. It was all of your guys' fault. All of you that chose the First Order. It's all of your fault.
I was one of those people. I just wasn't sold on the Resistance. I just had to go with the First Order. I think at the time. So this was before The Last Jedi was out, wasn't it? Or was it just after?
I think it was before.
Yeah, I want to say it was like leading up to that, because I think the crate update happened like a day before.
It was
actually, no, it couldn't have been before.
No,
like,
it was.
They wouldn't have shown crate before the movie, would they?
Yeah, no.
Surely not, because that kind of spoils a bit. It's got like the walkers and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, completely off topic, but I think, I just think things like that.
It was after, because it was in December. It wasn't November. It was December that the update came, right?
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been like a day after the movie, I reckon. I do remember like going to see the second viewing of the movie and going home that night and playing crate. So, and I saw the second viewing like a few days after the first one. So, I don't know. It must have been. I think the movie was the 15th of December.
I have it.
The 17th or something.
Okay, so December 4th is when the update started, and it was almost a month long actually more than a month long event, because it ended January 14th. So you chose the different factions, and I think, at the start of the season, this is through the Star Wars Battlefront wiki. At the start of the season, players could join either the Resistance or First Order and complete weekly faction missions in order to win loot crates that contain special rewards. December 5th. Yeah, so it was spanned out, and then celebrate the release of The Last Jedi with new maps. So yeah, after the movie came out, the day before the movie came out, December 13th, Finn and Phasma were dropped, as well as the map. So it was just right around the same time.
Maybe it was the first viewing then, because I just remember going to see the movie and then like coming home that night and I was like so keen to play Battlefront because the new map was out and stuff. Yeah. So that's interesting.
So good. But anyway, Star Wars Battlefront Divergent aside, I would love to see more of stuff like this. Obviously, they've shown that they have the systems. Obviously, these same maps on the smaller side of things. So, like, I think they've got all the pieces there where they could keep something up like this.
Yeah, and I hope that they do. Whether they actually do, I'm not sure, but I really hope that they do, because this is the type of stuff that, for example, I haven't streamed in a long time because there's not really that much, I guess, when like seasons drop and stuff. But even then, usually I'm like too focused on just trying to get the videos out.
Yeah.
With this, like, I want to stream this. Like, this is now there's enough hype that I'm like, oh, I might jump on and do a stream and get a little squad together and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that constantly, because if this is a one-off thing, then it's like just one random stream. But if every month there's a different event, like, it just gets that, like, it's building the community, but like constantly. It's not just like a one-off thing, because this alone will bring the community together, but then afterwards it will kind of disperse again. If it's happening every month or however often they want to do it, it will keep people engaged, and that's just that's what I hope, because especially like we are assumingly coming towards the end of the game, where a month away from this month next month season 3 will be coming, and then we've only got one season left. So we are coming towards like the end of the game, and it's a very important time to try and keep people together, because if there's any chance of like the community hanging around at all after this game, then you got to start now. You can't just do this like the last update and then it's like, oh, the game's dead. Like that doesn't really work that way. So I hope that from now until then they do continually do this, and maybe people will be more willing to sort of stick around and play until the next Battlefield or whatever. Because I think we all assume that season 4 will be the last one. Like I don't. Yeah. There is in my head it is 100% chance that
the writing is on the wall.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, but I just do not see season 5 ever happening.
I've been hurt too many times, man. I would love it if we got a season 5 or like a special edition thing where they brought something cool. But I think the writing's been on the wall for Battlefield 2042 for a while now, that it's just not going to be the game that we all thought it would be. DICE and Ripple Effect, all of these teams included, it just is not the game that we all thought it would be. It's not the level of kind of the foundation of Battlefield like we all assumed it would be. Basically, this game hopefully burnt down the rickety old house that Battlefield had been building upon since Battlefield 1. Obviously, Battlefield 1's beautiful. I love you so much. Game, you're great. I wish you still had lobbies that I could play in. But that was like false confidence that they were given to carry them all the way up to this point. It
was, yeah.
And now...
It's a weird situation, isn't it, that Battlefield 1 may actually have hurt the franchise, even though it was an amazing game. It may have actually had a negative impact because it gave them the sense of like, oh, we can do drastically different stuff and it's just always going to work. We know how to do it now. When I think that game was, I'm not going to say it was a fluke, but it was just a perfect storm. Like it just, they tried heaps of different stuff and it actually all worked that time. This game was not that much different in terms of them trying a bunch of stuff, but it just didn't pan out, and even more so with Battlefield 5. So that is where it all started to go wrong, even though I don't blame that on Battlefield 1 because I love, like, it's arguably my favorite of the game. So I'm still glad that we got that one. I don't know. I can't imagine Battlefield now without Battlefield 1. Like, I love how different that was.
Yeah. But they're like, man, we can do different every time, and it's going to work great. How about we go far future and get rid of the classes? Don't do that. Stop. Please. What are you thinking? Yeah, so I think there's a lot of learning experiences that have been had with Battlefield 2042. They've got little glimpses of beauty in it. Like, this is one of those things that if it's a one-off thing, it's going to be very disappointing because it has so much growth and potential to keep people invested in the game, to keep that community building aspect into it, to have that friendly banter, and to keep something for people to work towards, battle against, and just like, oh, hey, did you get this yet? Oh, what did you think about this? What did you do this? Like, it's something for us all to talk about, which if you want your game to succeed in like 2022 and onwards, you need that continuous community. I mean, that's why freaking Warzone has so many, like, what is it? They have like every 2 weeks they have something going on. Like, they have an event, they have a limited time only thing. Like, something's happening always, something for you to work towards, as well as the underlying aspects of like, oh, I've got skin camos, I've got all this stuff. Like, there's so many pieces there to keep people invested.
Yeah.
You have to have that continuous rotation, and the fact that Battlefield up to this point has just been like, oh, here's an update, and then they go dark, and then they're like, oh, hey guys, here's an update, and then they go dark, and it's like, hey guys, here's an update. That's not going to work.
Nah. And I think that all comes back to the launch, because I do think, like, imagine the game launched in this current state and they didn't have to like play catch up. They probably could have done a lot of that stuff, and there would be way more skins and way more things to do. But kind of in a similar vein to Battlefront 2, when your game launches so rough, you've got to you're pretty much playing catch up from day one. And it means that you can't, like, there's only so much work you can do on anything. And for a game like this, it's like they've spent so long trying to get things updated and better and add more content and fix the content that they had and all that kind of thing, that it does unfortunately remove that ability to like do those kind of events. They can still do them, but they won't have that same effect either, because if they did this type of stuff in like season or before season 1, I don't know if the game was in a good enough state that anyone would be that keen for it. You know what I mean? So it's just an unfortunate. This is why it's so important to launch. Like, this is why I hope the next game launches properly, because I don't care how. Like, Battlefield 4 really is the only game that I can remember that has launched really genuinely bad and has like come and become a fan favorite. Maybe also like in other franchises, there's like Rainbow Six Siege, and there's like plenty of games like that. I guess Battlefront 2 is another example, but in Battlefield, if they launch poorly, they just don't go well. So they just need to nail that for the next one, because if we can get the game in a good state from day one, then at that point they can start doing this stuff, and that's when I think the game really would like take off. If they can actually add a lot of content and they can do these, essentially just copy this sort of formula that like Call of Duty and those games do, because that is why they're so popular, because there's always something to do and it keeps people playing all year long. And then it becomes like, I don't know, you just like fall in love with games when it's the same for me with like Warzone. Like I love that game so much. I haven't played it barely for like months, but there was a time period there where it had me so addicted that I was just playing it all the time.
Yeah.
And now I'll always love that game because I played it so much. Same with the early Battlefield games.
Mm-hmm.
But with like, say Battlefield 5, by the end of it, I thought it was a good game, but I don't love Battlefield 5. I don't have that like nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
And that's going to probably be the same with this game, unfortunately. So I just hope that's the thing that they recognize and try and change moving forward, that if they can land the launch properly, then they can actually turn it into like a genuinely, if this game launched well, I think this could have been one of the best, if not the best Battlefield game, but it just unfortunately didn't go that way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the potential, man. If it launched it like this, with this level of kind of like consistency, this level of just lack of bugs, this level of content on the horizon, stability, all of that, like, and then we also had an entire year of updates to go up from. Like, this is what sucks about being a Battlefield fan, is like they have this false reality that they live in. It's like, okay, just ship it, we'll make it better. Like, that is not good. And like even our boy Steve Wilson, right? That's his name? No. Andrew Wilson.
Andrew Wilson, yeah.
He's just like, yeah, they've done this before.
Yeah, that's not the way that it should be, though.
Stop.
Because that's a very good point, that like we keep saying, imagine if it launched in this state, but by this time, it would be 1 year better. So think of all the progress it's made since it launched to now. That pretty much same amount of progress would be on top of where it is right now. So imagine how good that game would be, with way more content. And like, that's something that I don't think they realize, because by the end of all of their games, pretty much, they all end pretty good. Like even Battlefield 5.
They're really consistent with it. It's so weird. Yeah. Like, if you just started where you ended, we would be in such a great situation.
Yeah. Because I think that's the area that it's hard for the franchise to get better and become like a full competitor and like take over the shooter genre, because it's never really taking a step forward. It takes a step forward in its live service, but it's starting from one step back, so it takes a step forward, and that's just where it should have been. So then the next one launches and it's starting from a step back again. They're never going to like actually progress the franchise, because it's just like, they're always playing catch up. So that's what they need to do. They need to just make sure that, I have said this before, whatever date that they are planning on launching Battlefield 6, let's call it, because I guess this isn't Battlefield 6. Whatever date they want for that, delay it by 1 year. Like, already. Just do it right now. Don't tell us what the date is, because then we won't know.
Set a date for yourselves and then add a year to that.
Because that seems to be where they go wrong, is they try and... I don't want to say they've rushed them out, because Call of Duty does every year. Like, Battlefield isn't putting them out every year, so it's not even like rushed, but it's just... They need, with a game of this scale, they do need the time to like flesh it out, and like, hell, don't even do a year. Maybe do the 6 months and launch it at like May or something, which I know goes against all the conventions of AAA gaming, where they all launch in like October, November.
Yeah,
but
2 weeks
then
away
you've got
from
no
each other.
Competition. Yeah, then you don't have Halo and Call of Duty to battle. You've got literally no one.
And then
So all
plan
the
a
Call of
huge
Duty players
update
will be
when those ones come out.
Yeah, exactly. Do like you've got that 6-month buffer for, let's just say it launches in May. You've got 6 months to get people enjoying it, and then when Modern Warfare 2 comes out, for example, 2 weeks later, do an event like this, and do an even bigger event, launch a battle royale, do whatever, so you can still compete with those games in that time period. They're not going to fully take over because if you're just not doing anything, obviously you're not going to stay relevant.
Yeah.
But if you can just try and somewhat stay relevant, but you've had a 6-month head start, like I don't know why the like end of year date is so set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't really make sense. I get that it's heading into like the holiday period, and that's
Yeah.
from a money perspective, I'm absolutely certain you'd make the most money on launch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like the launch is the only time it's on sale. It's not like they launch it for a week and then it's not a movie. It doesn't come out for like a month and then it's gone.
Yeah, and you see like Warzone's doing basically what we're talking about, where they just release whenever the heck they want to because it's Warzone, and it's one of those things that like they're gonna do well no matter what, and then they just go with whichever has the least competition for them.
Yeah, well, that's a prime. Like Warzone launched in March. Like it had they had the game launch in I think November, and then 5 months later that like March was when that launched. And luckily for them, I want to say luckily, I'm sure they didn't plan it because no one planned for COVID, but it launched in like COVID month. That was when COVID started pretty much. And so a game launching like that with no competition when everyone goes into lockdown, like that was always going to do well. But even without COVID, it still would have done well because there's not a single game came out in March. Like I can't think of any big games that come out in March. So you've just got no competition at all. And if the game's good like Warzone was, people get addicted, and then it doesn't matter what comes out later in the year. Like no one cares. You just want to play the game that you've been addicted to for 6 months.
You're just going to keep on playing. As long as there's good content to bring you back, you're going to keep on coming back. Like that's the thing. If you're going, their whole mindset is like, oh, we just know that we can't release content. And it's like, okay, then add a year, create the content, and then release it. Boom. Yep. Easy fix. Then as people play it and they don't like something, you have that much more time of leadway of like, okay, we can fix these problems. Let's work on some stuff. Like, that's why all of the new maps are so much better, is because like they had that lead time of like, okay, we have the whole game coming out, we needed to fix these things. But imagine they had like that continuous content, they had to adjust some things, but like there's so much headroom there that they could have.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the main issue with this game, is that they just, you don't have any like flexibility. They just have to stick to, and we've talked about this as well, that DICE seems to be like overly structured. They're like set in stone. They have this is the time when the game launches, and then this is the time when blah blah blah, and they don't ever like deviate from that. So when they are playing catch up, they still have to. It's like they have to stick to that structure instead of. I guess, look, to be fair, with this game, at least they did delay all the content, so they showed some sort of deviation from their structure.
And they delayed the game by 1 month, which helped so much.
That's the perfect example, because it still was in that window. So it's like they tried their hardest to delay it. And 1 month's going to
get us there, right, guys? And the team's like, no, it's not. Give us more time. They're like, we can do this in a month.
Yeah, it's
9 months later.
Just the perfect example, because any delay that's 1 month, what's the point? Like, what is actually the point? There's you do not get anything done of this scale in 1 month. There's just nothing, like, unless the game was like really busted, but there was just like one bug that was causing it or something, then fair enough. But
every game that we've seen that's delayed it by a month has always gone poorly. Like, everyone thinks a month's going to fix something. I mean, Apple's doing this right now. So they have a feature called Stage Manager right now, where you can do like multitasking with multiple apps open at the same time. And then they also had like secondary display support. They delayed their thing by a month, and it is still incredibly broken. And they actually had to cut out certain features so they could ship it when they want to.
Damn.
So like, every time that I've seen it where they think the month delay is going to be this magic fix for everything, like it never works out.
Yeah, it's things like that only work on like a small scale. So like, I don't know, if you and I were working on this big, I don't know, like a documentary about Battlefield, right?
Yeah.
Between us, delaying it by a month for us with 2 people working on it, that's a lot of time. But
yeah,
if we're making a whole last video game, that's it's a bit different. Like
the scale.
yeah, there's a bit more.
That
like
is such a good description of it. Yeah, like if
Yeah.
it was just you and I working on a project, a month is a long time of like, okay,
Yeah,
we can get a
exactly.
lot done. We can get like, if we want to do special effects or something like that, we could do that
Yeah.
in the time frame of a month. But when it's like, oh, hey, we have 700 people that we need to get on the same page that are in different stages of development, that are working on different branching tree, like they've got different builds that they're all working on. Like,
Yeah.
it would take a month just to figure out what everybody's doing and where they're at.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah, that was a odd decision. That was clearly, it was very clear that DICE wanted more time and EA didn't really want them to. But they
We'll give you something.
compromised. I say compromised because it's barely even a compromise, but
Mm-hmm.
they like showed that they will at least listen to them by just giving them a month, and that was it. Because I think everyone at DICE would have been like, "Oh my god, 1 month is that is that all you can give us?"
Yeah. So much potential. But hey, like it's getting better. This is going to be freaking awesome playing as the Liquidators. I cannot just describe how pumped I am to play on all these maps and to play 8v8. Like, yes.
Oh, I'm so keen for that. I'm so like I'm going to play that all day, every day. Like that will be. That's what I want. Like, look, I don't want that like as the main mode, for example. But when you've just got Conquest all the time, to have that, like, I'll be playing that every day until it's gone, because I know that as soon as it's gone, I'm going to be like, damn it, I wish I played more of that.
I'm going to get like a hard drive, plug it into my laptop, just record a crap ton of footage because while you're watching these, you will probably see the Liquidators event for the next like 6 months.
Yeah, I'm going to be like all the videos that are coming out in like season 4, I'm just going to be like using the Liquidators content still.
Hey, if you never take
Everyone's
off the
gonna
skin,
be
it could be any mode.
True. Everyone's going to be like, I've seen this gameplay 6 times. Please show some new stuff.
Please, Sammy, no. Yeah, I'm so pumped. But I think with that, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Battlefield Show. Let us know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think about the Liquidators event. Is this what you want to play in Battlefield? What other limited time only modes would you like to see? Because I mean, there's been others in the past Battlefield experiences. There's other modes that obviously aren't in Battlefield 2042. What would you like to see in terms of that kind of support? Would love to hear that. Contact at uplinkpodcast.com or drop it in the description drop it below the description in the comment section of this YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube. Hello. Thanks for watching. Would love to hear your feedback. You can tweet at us at uplinkpodcast or at SammyBoyYT.
Yeah, I believe. Let me check. I don't even know. Yeah, that's it. I don't even know my own Twitter handle.
Yeah, at SammyBoyYT. Let us know. Give us your feedback. Would love to hear and start this discussion on what would you like to see. But with that, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find us all the places. Make sure to subscribe for free wherever you listen. Leave us a review. It helps us out a ton. We really, really appreciate it. It helps us out more than you think it would. Rate us on Spotify and give us a shout out if you have any Battlefield buddies. Let them know about the glory of the Battlefield Show. The one with the radar logo, not the other one. But thank you all so much for listening, and as always, we'll see you on the battlefield.